Hey guys, so oftentimes I come across a website and see so much opportunity to improve the overall design and layout with really only some minor tweaks and changes. So in today's video, I'm going to take a local business website I found and walk you through some of the changes I would personally make to help improve it overall. I'm going to be utilizing a Figma plugin called HTML to Design that allows you to enter a URL of a website and turns it into a fully editable Figma file. Let's get started. All right, so this is the website we're going to be taking a look at today is Hero Martial Arts. And I've already used that Figma plugin to pull it in and get it ready for us to start improving the design. So as you can see, it created all these layers. All I did was enter a URL and all these layers are created for you. Now, at first glance, you might look at a website like this and think, you know what, it's pretty decent actually. It's better than a lot of websites out there. But this is the perfect opportunity that I see to make subtle changes and really make such a drastic improvement overall. So first, let's go ahead and get started. In the hero section here, there's a few things for me that stand out. I really don't care for this sort of pastel, like it looks like paint on a canvas background. Plus they have this odd shape divider. The hero is kind of going full width instead of containing to their container width here that you see consistently down the page. And then that hero button is also really opaque, which that's the call to action, right? We want people to see that more easily and want to click that. So some of the things I'm going to jump in here and do, and I will preface this by saying all I did prior to this video was pull this in. I have not done any testing or a dry run through this design. So I'm doing this on the fly. So bear with me as we kind of just work through it, and I'm going to talk through some of my thoughts as we go through. All right, so first on this hero section, well, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in a couple of guides here because I want to set my container width just so I can see what we're working with as we tweak the design. So with that, you can see it's not even perfect actually. Some of these images don't line up with the text. These testimonials come out of the box. Looks like that tab section's pretty close. Anyhow, so what we're going to do is edit the hero section here at the top. I'm going to remove the image completely. I just don't like it. I don't think it does anything for this website. And then the hero text, if we hold down Command and click, we're able to jump right into this group of text. And so what I think I would personally do here is this is just too long of a intro sentence. I think a complete program for fitness, self-defense, and mindfulness for all ages. And then this text, I would make more of like a subtext. So if we make this, let's say about 16-point font, bold, and then I would say all uppercase, and we'll add about 2% of letter spacing. Let's zoom in here. Put this on one line. All right, so to me that already looks so much better. It's easier to digest, easier to read. So if we go ahead and shrink that down so the text fits the box. I won't go into too much granular detail here. Again, we're just trying to improve the overall design and layout. We're not trying to get it pixel perfect. So we'll go ahead and actually move, I forgot a line of text. Move this text within the container. Actually, I think it's okay if we break the container on this hero section. It makes it a little snug if we don't. Now the button, I do want to change this style of button. Let's see if we go ahead and add some fill. And we'll add this darker red color. And let's see, the stroke. We want to get rid of that stroke. I'm not a really big fan of stroke on a button. All right, so I think that already looks way better. And I've actually duplicated this so we can do a side-by-side comparison. So as we look at that hero section, you can kind of see that text layout. It's definitely easier to digest. It's a little bit broken up, and the call to action button is definitely more visible. This H1 larger text here could definitely be a little bit bigger. The way that this plugin kind of pulls in the font text sizes is a little bit funky, but nonetheless, we're not really creating this for a client. It's really just for a demo. So let's improve this line height, and then make this text a little bit bigger. Make sure it's all in one line. Perfect. All right, now let's readjust this one more time. Bring our button down. Perfect. Now this image, we can pull it in. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it in that shape. I think it's fine. And then we'll just make sure that our content is centered up on our canvas here. And then the shape divider here, I'm just gonna get rid of it. I think that's what that's gonna do. Perfect. Yeah, that's already like, geez, 150% better, in my opinion, of course. So again, as we look side by side, you can kind of see the changes we've made so far. Now, these first section of images, I actually really like these. I wouldn't touch those or do anything differently. However, as we jump into the next section, you have more images. So I think this is just too much at once. So I would actually just totally get rid of all 4 of these images here. Then I would go ahead and select all of this body text. It turns it into a text box for every single line of text, so that's a little bit annoying. I would center this up and widen it, which isn't going to do anything, but what I would do normally is widen this out just so that it's a little bit shorter in length. Then the About Us, I'm going to go ahead and center that to our canvas, and then we'll center the text. And what we're actually going to do is I'm going to break this up again into 2 different lines. So About Us is going to be 1, and then we'll duplicate that, and we'll say Hero Martial Arts Mount Juliet. The typography, we're going to break those settings, and then the font will go up to about 36 point. All right, I had to fix some of the auto layouts there, was kind of giving me a hard time. So now we're going to lower this down to 16 again as our initial eyebrow text that we did with 2% letter spacing. And then fill color, I'm going to go with black. All right, so we've got About Us, Hero Martial Arts. I'm going to get rid of this little divider. I don't think it's really necessary. And then we'll bring up our text with it. And then the image with the head instructor, I'm actually going to put that up with our copy and text here, and then put a Get Started button below that. I think this could actually be quite a bit smaller. And then the head instructor text, I think I would change this to, let's see, font 1. Here we go. It is Poppins that they're using. Not necessarily my favorite. Say down to 14. We'll change the line height on this as well. Shrink our text box. All right, so that definitely helps that a little bit, but this doesn't even look like it's in the middle. So let's go ahead and make sure it's in the center of our website here. I'm actually going to go grab this text from the website itself. It's just bugging me that it's not aligned right. All right, so I grabbed the text, and what I'm going to do is delete all of them except one line, and then go ahead and paste that text in. So now we'll change the width of the box to resize, and we'll kind of open that up a little bit. Much better. All right, there we go. So we got our next section all set up. Those are the changes I would definitely make to help improve that. Again, like I said, the repetitive images were just too much, especially on mobile, as we think of things stacking left to right. We would have had 4 images, and then the next section would have had another 4 images before you even got to any additional copy. So only the 4 images here at the top are plenty as we move down the page. Solid. Oop. I am not choosing the right colors here. All right, here we are. Black. All right. And then our SVG, we also want to change that. Maybe we'll choose that as a red color. Okay, so if we come in here and then once again, go ahead and remove that background image. We can ungroup this because we don't want that box. And then we'll go ahead and center this to our page. Center this to our page again, and then come down, center this text. I think we'll go ahead and leave that as is. But to copy this H2, we're going to change that color. Let's see, I think it's this color. All right, and then the icon here, maybe we'll just put that right in the middle with it. Oop. Let's ungroup it. I'm not sure where it's grouping with. Put that right in the middle of our canvas. All right, and then we still want to go ahead and add a background color. So by clicking R and dragging a rectangle and then hitting the left bracket once, we'll push that all the way to the back of your content. Now the fill on that, I'm going to go EA, which is a very light gray. It's kind of one I use a lot. It's just a really good default. And then let's go ahead and just overlap that. I kind of like that, the way it looks. All right, and now let's tackle these 6 grid sections. So I'm going to ungroup those. And what we're going to do, once again, is kind of group this text. I'm going to do 2 lines of 3 cards. What I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to go silent here for a minute as I work through adding a background box to each of these cards to kind of bring a little bit more cohesive layout to this section. All right, so I just finished cleaning up this section to sort of be a 3-column layout with a little bit more organization and differentiating those boxes. Now, I would technically clean up these little widows and the spacing to be a little bit more consistent, but again, I'm just trying to show, in general, the design improvements I would make without being too perfect. All right, so as we kind of look at the website here as a whole again, as a before and after, you could see definitely a big improvement in terms of the hierarchy and readability. All right, so if we kind of jump in and look at the next section, we've got another little headline. I'm not really sure. For me, this doesn't really serve a lot of purpose, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Then we have sort of a 2-column layout, and this doesn't really make sense for me to be full width, so I'm going to ungroup that, and then ungroup those as well. And what I would do to help this is go ahead and just make this a 2-column layout. It makes a little more sense in terms of the design consistency of this page. So we'll just shrink down this text, and again make this a red color. Let's get darker. Oh. That HTML to Figma plugin creates all these variables for your colors, so it can be kind of hard sometimes to figure out which one it was that you were using. All right, so that's that section. Now then we'll go ahead and do the same for this one. All right, and I noticed for some reason our little left guide here disappeared. So as I pull that back in, I just want to make sure everything's lined up. It looks good. All right, and then the next section is a testimonial. Now this one, I think it has a neat background image, but it's cut off. I think this is a parallax section so that the background image scrolls with you. So I can pull this up. I really like these quotes, but I'm going to kind of go with the same theme as what I was doing before. Let's see, I'll unlink it, ungroup, and I'm going to center it and then overlap it with the section just like I did with this SVG icon here. So the quotes, I'm going to do the same. The image, I'm going to go ahead and just leave that. Like I said, that was a parallax image. I think that works fine. All right, so I'll shrink this up a little bit to make it more consistent in the padding. And then next we have sort of a tab section. So this tab section overall has an okay layout. I do think there are some changes we can make to help overall. Now, I think the text size inside the tabs is a little bit small. Let's see if we break the typography. And we could say maybe 20. I think that definitely helps. So if we choose all of these, go ahead and break that text style and put that up to 20. Make this a little bit wider so the text fits the box. All right, that helps. Now the layout of the box itself, this tab, I might actually flip it so the image is on the right and text and button is on the left. Learn more, I would say always be more descriptive in your buttons. So I would say get to know tiny champs. I need to make this box a little bit wider so that it fits the button. All right, perfect. And then the copy here, we do need to shrink our box. It's doing that again. Let's ungroup it. Here we go. A little bit better. Let me just fix the line breaks. And then on our image, I would also add about 8-point radius. And then this outer box, I would make sure that it lines up with our container width. And then in addition to that, I think that this section is actually lacking heading for the section. Pull down one of these headings, say our age groups, our classes and age groups. So we'll go ahead and put that in the center. Make sure the text is also centered. And push this up a bit. This tab section a little bit closer. All right, perfect. All right, moving right along to the next section. So this is a accordion section with frequently asked questions. So I'm going to keep moving it on up here to our layout. Overall, I don't have a lot of gripes with this. I think that the background could be a little bit less opaque. So let's say if maybe it was 70%, I think works a lot better with the readability of the text. These little buttons, I would also change their color. I think these should actually just be white. All right, and then the other part of that, the arrow in there, we can go ahead and make those black. Perfect. I think that makes a lot more sense. But overall, the rest of the design is fine with me. With the call to action buttons, perfect. And then as we move along again to the last section of the page before the footer, we've got sort of this why choose hero martial arts. Now this section, let me ungroup it. Here we go. This is actually a question. Why choose hero martial arts in Tennessee? And then I'm going to ungroup this section as well. For some reason, the alignment on this is just totally off. And so I'm going to pretty much do exactly what we did up here on our section with the cards. Apply that same layout down here at the bottom. All right, I think actually I'm going to go ahead and just leave it like that without the cards around the section. I think since this is a lot less text and only 3 columns, I think it works fine for this. All right, so then as we look at the bottom footer of the website, the only thing I would really change is probably bring this in a bit to fit within the container. I'm going to ungroup this section so we can work with these elements individually. I'm going to pull that logo right in. I'm going to move this text over. We'll grab these icons in this text, pull that over a little bit, and then our Google map. Can even make this a little bit smaller. Actually, if we use the shortcut K, we can scale it down. So it could use a little bit of better spacing in between those columns, but essentially that's what I would do, is just make sure that they're pulled in with each other so that it fits inside that container. All right, so now we can just resize our canvas here for our frame, pull that up, and now we can go ahead and take a look. We'll turn off our rulers with Command R, and we can take a look side by side. So as we pull it in a little bit closer, we can see the before and after difference of this Hero Martial Arts website. Just by making some little changes here and there, it did take a little bit of time. I think some of the restraints was just because of the way that that Figma plugin kind of pulls it in and groups the text and makes it a little bit difficult to work with, but overall it allowed us to turn a functioning website into a Figma file so that we can edit it. So just with some little bit of subtle changes, improving the layout, making sure that the hierarchy is better, adding headlines where it's necessary, kind of just overall consistency and readability. And you can really make a lot of drastic improvements to your website. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed kind of watching me work through the process of how I would take an existing website and look to improve it. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, please leave a comment below and let me know. I would love to be able to create more like it if you're enjoying it. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I really appreciate your support.